What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to do a quick update video today. They released a small patch on June 2nd that changed the Blixen as well as the NZ-41. The NZ-41 change was actually like a direct result of one of my tweets. I'll show you guys that in a second, but it's gonna be a really short video. I just want to go through the patch notes and then talk about how these two guns are changed and how it affects the meta. As always, if you guys like the work that I'm doing, a like and a comment on the video is really appreciated. It helps me out with the algorithm. And if you want to see more of my content, obviously a subscription would also get you more of that. So let's go through this real fast. Champions of Caldera. This is a new solos mode that they've added. I've gone over that in previous patch notes, so I'm going to talk about it. Not going to talk about it here, but it was finally released today. I've heard really good things about it, so I'm excited to go try that. It says recon drone field upgrades have been removed from the underground transit system loot. Okay, I don't know why. Reduce the spawn rate of the radar jammer field upgrade on Rebirth Island. So I think because Rebirth is so small, the radar jammer was like really screwing with Rebirth. So they've reduced the spawn rate there. So that's good. Serpentine, they updated the text to probably say that it only affects non-plated health, which is a good thing because that was very confusing. And that's why I thought it was going to be so good, because I thought it was going to be on your whole health pool, but really it's just on your base health. Restock, this is a good change here. So restock, they upped the recharge time to 30 seconds instead of 25 seconds. That's not a very big change. I think it should probably be like 35 or 40 probably. But at least it's a little bit longer. I mean, this is just crazy with everything like stuns and flashes and gas grenades being at 30 seconds is just too fast in my opinion. Throwing knife upper torso damage was decreased to 200 damage, so it should still do 300 to the head and neck. So if you hit that headshot with your knife, it's going to insta down anyone. I personally never got killed by this, but it was very, very fun to use throwing knives to insta down people. But I do think it's probably a good change, even though I was having a blast with it how it was before. I think overall it probably makes sense to not have a one shot down to the torso. And then on to the weapon changes. So the STG caught a gigantic nerf. Its damage range was reduced by a whopping 2 meters, so it's still going to be ridiculously good in all cases. The NZ-41, so over on my Twitter, we have this tweet that I sent out after the previous patch where they said they helped the NZ recoil. I put a little video out that showed that it still kind of was crazy. After the first few shots, it was still just felt like it had a mind of its own. And then Tully Auckland, I don't know if I pronounced his last name right. He's one of the weapon developers for Raven. And he said he was going to follow up on this after the long weekend because it's not supposed to be like that. So this patch was basically directly because of that tweet. And it says they decreased the recoil dramatically, and we're going to go check that out in a second and see how it feels compared to, like, you know, the meta STG. They also reduced the damage in the first range and increased the damage in the second range, increased the muzzle velocity, and they made kind of like the same changes to the low caliber magazines that they made to the 50 round mag for the STG. So the damage range penalty of the 40 round mag was reduced to minus 10% instead of minus 20%, and it no longer hurts your damage. But it also doesn't increase your fire rate, so that's kind of a negative, but the fact that the damage penalty was removed, it's probably still going to be really good. And then for the 50 round Sakura mag, it also now does not hurt your damage at all, and it increases your fire rate by 5% rather than 12%. So again, we'll go check that out in a second, but I want to keep reading these. The H4 Blixen, so this is the new SMG, the 7.62 Gorenko 36 round mag. The torso damage used to be 15% extra, or it used to be a 1.15 multiplier, which gave it exactly that 50 damage that I talked about in my previous videos. They've now changed that down to 13%, 1.13, which means that it's probably going to do like 48 or 49 damage now, which means it's not going to have that perfectly efficient time to kill. So that means that probably this mag is going to be completely out of the running for which magazines to pick. It's going to be between the 54 round Gorenko mag that does headshot damage, or just the default magazine that has the regular caliber bullets. It's my build in the video yesterday, just used the regular ammunition, and that was a fantastic build as well. So there's plenty of great builds still. It's just kind of, this one kind of takes it out of the running, I think. I talked about the Johnson barrel a bunch in my original Blixen video, and how it basically had no damage drop off and made the thing just have crazy like damage range, basically just because it was like 1 or 2 damage drop off out of range. So they've reduced that now, probably again after my video, but it went from 33 in the second damage range down to 30, so that's going to basically pull 3 damage off, roughly 3 damage off every single shot location in the second range, probably between like 3 and 5 damage. So I think that's a good change. Makes sense. All right, so I want to show you guys how these TTK stack up. I think the 50 round Sakura is going to be the best mag to choose for the NZ-41 nowadays, so for long range build at least. And you can see that out at range on 300 health combination shots, it's going to be slightly faster than both the bar and the STG with the 50 round mag. So this fits in nicely. We need to go look at the recoil now and see how that compares. Also, I want to take a quick look at the shot to kill calculator. I bet you anything this is one of those one shot to improve TTK. Just based on the TTK chart, yeah. So it takes one neck shot or one headshot. So that's nice. You basically have a big headshot multiplier there, because if you hit those chest, stomach, and then one neck or one head, you're gonna get a better time to kill, and that's really nice. All right, so I wanted to jump in a game and try out the new NZ recoil and see how it compares. So I've got my bar that I like to use with the NZ. So I'm gonna take shots at this little thing, probably 150, 200 meters away. And this is basically like the minimum recoil you can get with the NZ. And you can see it's very controllable now. I can put almost every shot on that like person-sized object, like 150 meters. But compared to the bar, which I literally don't have to do anything, I can just hold the trigger down right on the thing and it doesn't move whatsoever, even with a higher zoom optic. There's no comparison. Like the bar still has much less recoil with the 40 round mag than the NZ does. STG is also going to have less recoil still than the NZ does, but it's close and it's definitely very good, very usable. And the time to kill is a little bit better than the STG and a little bit better than the bar. So I think it fits in nicely, and we thankfully have another gun now that fits into the meta. All right, so this is pretty much what I would recommend build-wise for the NZ-41. So we get the MX silencer. This is the one that increases damage range, as well as bullet velocity. And then we have the Orb Weaver 360mm barrel. This just has dramatic reduction in recoil in both vertical and horizontal, and it also reduces your idle sway, increases your bullet velocity by a lot. So that's probably the recommended barrel there. And then optic, again, it's your choice. I mean, this is the same for every gun, but the 3 to 6x is the general recommended optic. But if you're on consoles, something like that, 80 FOV, you might want to go with like one of the 1.5x optics instead. Stock, so I think the Mark III SC is going to be the best, especially because the NZ is pretty easy to control for the first few shots, then it has much more deviation and almost like randomness in it after the first few shots. So we're going to go for aiming stability, or not, sorry, we're going to go for sustained firing recoil attachments, and that's what the Mark III SC stock does. Strife angled, it doesn't actually say this, but it helps the most with horizontal recoil, so we're going to use that since this one's pretty bouncy left to right. The hand stop's also a great choice. I mean, I think they're both justifiable. The hand stop's going to help you more with vertical, and also help with horizontal some, and then the strife's going to help you even more with horizontal, but really doesn't help with vertical at all. But it doesn't have very much vertical recoil at all. The 6.5mm Sakura 50 round mag is going to be the recommended magazine. Gives you the best recoil control, improves your fire rate a little bit, increases your movement speed, hurts your bullet velocity and your range, but I mean, that's the same with like the 50 round mag on the STG, and that's still the meta there. So I think this is the magazine you're going to want to use. There's just not a lot of reason to use the other ones. Obviously lengthened for bullet velocity. So the rear grip, so polymer again is sustained firing recoil, which I think is what we want to maximize with this from my experience. Other good options would be anything that helps with horizontal recoil. So the rubber grip's going to help a little bit with vertical and a little bit with horizontal. The grooved grip doesn't say that it helps with horizontal, but sometimes it does. So I'd have to look into this more and check it out and see what it actually feels like. Hatch grip is a good choice as well. Taped grip is a good choice because it helps with weapon swap speed and lets you not use amped. There's just a bunch of good options here. Pine tar grip helps a ton with a vertical recoil, but it felt really good with the polymer grip, so that's what I would just recommend in general. For the perk, so brace is initial firing recoil. Unfortunately, we don't have like hard scope or any of the ones that helped with like, sustained firing recoil here. So you can either use brace or you could use like acrobatic if you just want to have better mobility with this thing. Brace is okay, but again, the initial shots on this gun are really not the ones that are difficult to control. And then perk 2, not a whole lot here. You can use fully loaded or on hand if you want better ADS times. Obviously, while you're leveling the gun, use surplus because that pretty much dramatically increases the weapon XP that you get. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. It's really good, honestly. It's probably like a 9 out of 10 on my weapon scoring sheet now, maybe a 9.5 out of 10. It's actually very close to the STG and the bar, I would say, for like one of the top ARs along with the XM4. But yeah, I think it's a great gun. I like to see these changes. We now have one more viable long range gun. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And I will see you all in the next video.